G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza. Unfortunately for the next couple of weeks I won't be able to do very much original content because I'm traveling overseas. So if there are any of you who want to come hang out with me, I'll be having a meet and greet and hangout drawing session with a whole bunch of people who want to hang out and chill with me, and it's going to be on the east coast of the US near Philadelphia in Glenside, Pennsylvania. So if you live in or near that area, come along, say hi on the 24th of November. There's a Facebook event page in the description, but other than that I'll be having some special guests do some tutorials while I'm away, one a week, and the first one is by YouTuber James Reyes, known as the Box Office Artist. I highly recommend checking out his stuff. His ink work and his comic book style drawing is absolutely superb, and today he's going to be taking you through drawing mechas and robots, so that should be awesome fun. Huge thank you to Box Office Artist for creating this tutorial for my subscribers, and all of you who are interested in his style of presentation and content, make sure to go check out his channel. Other than having special guests fill in while I'm away, I'm hoping to also upload a little video myself each week showing you where I'm at and what I'm up to. I won't be able to do very much editing, if any. I might have to do them all in one take, but I figured some of you guys might be interested in seeing what I'm up to, so I'll see what I can do on that end. Otherwise, wish me luck, and for now, I'll be leaving you in the very capable hands of James Reyes. Take it away, James.
Hi, I'm James Reyes. I'm known on the internet as the Box Office Artist, and I'm overtaking JAZZA'S channel. Here I am, haha, which is fine because, you know what, me and Jazza, we have a lot in common, you see. He's Australian, I'm Canadian, which means we both believe in the metric system, and we both love to draw. And it's actually drawing, it's a worldwide thing, right? It's wonderful to draw, we all have a lot of fun doing it, that's why you're watching today, and Jazza asked me if I could teach you guys something, and you know what? I'm mostly known for a lot of my robot drawings, my mecha drawings, and I thought it would be great if I taught you some of my skills or some of my techniques in drawing and designing a robot or mecha-like figure. And it's a lot of fun because it's different than drawing a human. In fact, you could actually exaggerate a lot of the rules. Let's say rules when it comes to drawing people. You can exaggerate it when you draw robots, and I'll show you that in a second. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can let your imagination run wild. You can go design as crazy as you want it to be, and I want you to do that today. So let's have a lot of fun and let's get started. Let's start with a Sharpie. That's right, everyone's favorite pen, but again, you could start with any type of pen that you like, because at this point, we are just trying to get like a sense of shape when it comes to designing our robots. Again, robots could be any shape, any size, really. So, you know, starting out with a good base structure will help a lot. We could always go into little details further along the process, which we will. But right now what we'd like to do is start with like little thumbnails, small sketches of silhouettes of what this robot will look like, and just get some ideas down on paper. So, you know, this robot here, we do, like for me, I would like to do some sort of like a humanoid style. So we could start, you know, I would go in and I would actually start with just pretty much just like a skeleton. That's usually how I start drawing, right? So I'm going to try to make this a little bit humanoid. So for example, these would be the shoulders, and this would be the hip joints, and I would go in, right? And then I may have like maybe the arms here, right? Again, this is just a skeleton, right? And then I will build on top, right? And then maybe I'd do like a horse type leg for this particular one. And I would go in, again, very small, right? Stick figure, everyone can do this. Stick figure, I'm going to go and take myself a fatter Sharpie, and then just start, you know, playing along with the size, okay? And then adding little details. Maybe he would have like big shoulder pads, right? And maybe like a round body, right? As you can see, I'm trying to filling it in, right? Maybe he would have skinny arms, but maybe he would have thicker forearms in that sense, right? So just getting that sense, right? Maybe he would have, you know, some robots, they have like thinner middles, right? And then here would be the pelvis, like this. Maybe he would have a thicker thigh. So you can already see the outline of your robot taking shape. We could always go into detail later on. But I just want the sense, you know, have a good base to what, you know, to what this robot will be. So something like that, that would be a good start to what this robot would be. Maybe we give him like bigger shoulder pads, right? But this has to be sound. You know, I should be able to tell what it is already from something that's this small. And then I can take this and then go, you know, blow it up, either like photocopy this and make it bigger and then draw over that, or even just eyeball it and then go from there and start adding more detail. So I'm gonna, right now, I'm gonna speed this up. I'm gonna do a few different examples of, you know, these type of silhouettes, and we'll talk about them in a minute. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. So here are some silhouettes that I put together. Now, some may be similar than others, you know, but it's nice just to get the ideas down because, you know, they're not, you know, they're not perfect, but, you know, you get an overall sense of shape, right? As you can tell, I really wanted to do a biped, or in other words, something with two legs. I wanted it to have some sort of a, you know, sort of more of a human feel, so that we could relate to it a little bit, right? So we, you know, we had the skinny one here. This one's interesting because, you know, I imagine this guy a little portly, little belly. Maybe this is a self-portrait, maybe. This one here, you know, we had this triangle. I really like that. I did like the idea of, you know, doing the horse leg type thing. You know, the two-joint leg here, something like that. That really interested me. So, you know, trying out a few different ideas, trying out something maybe like a squarish, boxish. Again, there, you know, when you're doing something like this, there's no really right or wrong. It's more what your interests are and what you feel comfortable with. Okay, so looking at all of these, you know, right now I got quite a few shapes here. I would look at this and I was like, okay, which one would be interesting for me to draw? If this is just for me, if this is for a client, it'd be different. I'd put this in front of the client. Sometimes I would even put some bad ones in, so hopefully he'll pick the good ones. But I would put this in front of a client and then they would pick. But here I'm the client, or you're the client. So I'm thinking, okay, which one kind of appeals to me? And I'm trying to leaning to this end one here. I kind of like this shape here. I kind of like this, because actually if I had more room, I would have brought this out a little bit more, these arms. But I kind of like this. I like how the arms are a little lower here. And I like the spread out legs. So out of all of these, I think I'm going to go with this guy right here. This guy right here. I'm going to draw a little circle around him. This is our star, okay? So from here, we are going to go into phase 2. Now, either I would blow this up, I would like scan this in, blow it up, and then put it on paper, or I would just go in on paper. But now it's time for phase 2. Okay, so now we got our silhouettes. We're going into phase 2. And that phase 2, for me, is to take this silhouette and actually make it, you know, a bigger size. Now, as you can see, I'm holding, you know, it just looks like a regular Bic pencil, but it's not, okay? I just have the holder. What really counts is the lead. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, the lead is blue. And what I actually use at this phase is a blue Pilot Color Eno lead. And again, you can use whatever you want. You want to use a regular pencil? By all means, please do. But I've been using this blue pencil for about 15 years. And what I like to do with this is where it's a non-photo blue. And this is where I'd like to, you know, sketch out the basic shapes, you know, start putting a little bit of detail before I go in straight to ink. And this is a style I've been using for the past, I'd say 6-7 years, and it's been working out well so far. It's been one of the more efficient ways for me to work so far. So, hey, it works for me. And, you know, pretty much you do whatever works for you. And, like, I'm really comfortable with this. So, this is what works for me. Now, as you can tell, I'm a traditionalist. I love drawing on paper and using a pencil and paper. It's one of my favorite things in the world, mainly because I like having an original. I like having original art, holding it in my hands. That's something you don't get when you paint everything on the computer, which is totally fine too, which you could totally do. But for me, I just like the feel of pen and paper and then holding that original art in your hand, knowing there's only this one original piece of art that's here, right? So that's why I like doing it this way. So I would go in and I would go and sketch it out in blue, okay? So I would go in and then try to, match the details that we see in here. Like we have these squares here, and we got these squares kind of sticking out here. And then we have the arms that go straight down. Really, really loose, but at the same time keeping that structure that we have here. We have our joints, like these balls represent the joints. We have our pelvis, we have our hips, very human-like in that sense. But they have those animal-style legs, right? And then those big, wide, clunky feet that are really cool, I think, right? Okay, so I'm going to go here, I'm going to continue this blue line and actually add a few more details, okay? So let me quickly do that, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Okay, so as you can see, I started laying this out in blue, and then starting to add little details, what I like to see and hear, and what kind of things we could do. This bread breaks a lot, but going in, I wanted something that kind of forms a chest, but not really, Like here, what you'll notice with a lot of robots is you'll have big areas, big metal areas, but then you'll have small open areas where you could actually go in and see detail, like pipes and wires and all that kind of stuff. Really brings the brings that drawing together, that level of detail. So I'll probably do that here. I would probably separate plates, for example, here, and then add a little bit in here, something like that. Let me get some knee pads. This keeps breaking. There's knee pads here, but then it needs some sort of joint, so maybe I'll have some circles here going on like that. So I would really go to town. Now, I wouldn't go too detailed, because there's a fine line between inking and then tracing, right? And what I want to do is I want to have fun when I ink. And what's fun for me is actually creating while I am inking. I just don't want to trace over the lines that are there. I want to create while I'm there. So what I want to do in this blue line stage is I just want to have some general shapes, right? General shapes, and then I could fill in the details later. I could put as many lines as I want with ink later. But at this stage here, this blue line stage, I would just go in and then just start messing around, trying to think, okay, I could have a plate here, a plate there. Here's the head. I'm going to have a head, and it kind of goes around here. It's one of those type of necks that kind of wrap around here. So maybe I'll have like a metal piece that protects it. And that maybe I won't give it a human head. Maybe I'll give it like one of those RoboCop-ish, type eyes. And then maybe it won't even have like a mouth. Maybe I'll have like this big metal plate for a mouth, right? But sometimes what gives characters life is like eyebrows. So maybe I would give it like eyebrows and stuff like that, right? And then little plates on the side here that go up and around. Then maybe a feeling of spine, right? I think I need something taller here, like this. Like that. But what's really cool is when they do have a small stomach. I think it's pretty cool when these big clunky things, they have small stomachs, right? Now, one thing's to manage scale. The head size. If you want this to look bigger, make the head a little bit smaller. I might actually make it a little bit smaller, the head. So I'd actually go and erase this, and as you can see, erase this not too badly. Go and erase this, and I would make the head probably even smaller like this, just to give it a little bit more size, right? Hey, it might be one of those things where like there's a human inside and he's controlling this armor. That would be pretty cool, right? That would be pretty cool. But we could design that a little bit later on. Right now, I'm just going to focus on the actual robot itself, right? Thinking of like little plates that we could have here, little plates as we design, and having a lot of fun while we're going, Let's bring it around. Like I said, these shoulders, they have these big, round shoulder pads like this, which would be awesome, right? And then maybe here, these could be a lot of guns, like a lot of missiles that go in here for no reason. You know, when you're creating from scratch, it doesn't matter. This robot can be whatever you want it to be, really. So we would keep going like that, okay? So we are getting there. Like, I would already take this, and I might even already start placing ink. I might break out the blue pencil just to work out a few issues where I get confused. Other than that, we're almost time for the next phase. So I'm going to add a little bit more detail to this, and then we're going to the next phase, which is actually straight to ink. Okay, so this is pretty much how detailed I go with the blue pencil. You know, it's pretty much just enough to outline the shape and everything. So right now, what I'm going to do is actually going to start adding in detail with ink. And what I'm using today is a Pigma Micron pen, okay? This is a .005, a 005 size, so something very small. And I'm going to go in and actually just kind of freehand this. I'm going to freehand going in and adding little details to it, right? And just, again, getting the basic shapes. Now, when we have longer lines like this, I might actually go in and use a French curve as opposed to ruler. Now, you'll notice I hardly use straight edges, like completely straight edges when doing a robot, and mostly because straight edges, you know, they're flats. Honestly, they're a little boring, a little boring. So adding like a little bit of a curve to the line, it adds so much. It adds so much to the line. Whenever it's curved a little bit. So I could go in and then use this guy to make my lines. But a lot of the time, at this stage, I'm just pretty much freehanding everything. Like I would use this on bigger lines. But at this stage, I'm still kind of concepting at this stage because I'm going to go back over and add details with thicker pens. And again, I'm using the Micron pen, but you could use a Prismacolor, you could use a Staedtler. Honestly, I just use which is what is ever on sale. Whatever's on sale, I am using. So I'm a cheap guy. So these were on sale, so I'm using this. But whatever you want to use, and it doesn't even have to be a pen. You could go ahead and use a pencil if you want. But at this stage, it's all about adding in some details and, you know, the basic shapes, you know, and getting that going, and then we'll get even more detailed afterwards. So right now I'm going to speed this up. I'm going to go in and add a lot of detail to this particular robot, and again, I'm just having fun with it, you know. There's no rules here because this is my robot. So I'm going to go in and create whatever I want, whatever shape I feel like. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Right? And if I am wrong, I can use a whiteout to white things out, but I'm just going to go in and see what I could get, just freehanding with a Micron. So we'll see how it goes. All right, let's speed this up and we'll talk about it afterwards. Here we go. So here we are, just going in and honestly just making stuff up as we go along here. Like, for example, I could go in and maybe make the hips, maybe make them like these plate type things, right? Again, no rules. The only rule I have when you're making a robot, have fun. Like, this is fun, just making stuff up. Let your imagination run wild. You could go online, take a look at some pictures, things that would inspire you. Now, I wouldn't actually tell you to go and look at actual robots when you are designing your own, because most likely what will happen most often than not is that you will actually go and copy that other person's robot or take too many elements from it, and then it won't be really yours at the end of the day. I would suggest looking at things like cars. looking at things like engine parts, you know, that'd be interesting. Like, yeah, engines itself, like airplane engines, tank engines, you know, that kind of thing. Look at tanks, look at airplanes and all that. That would really help you when you do these sort of hard surface style drawings, okay? So as you can tell, like I have I have bigger areas here, and then these shoulder pads, they will be massive as well, you know, and I think I'm gonna make them like these round thingies. Again, I'm just going to freehand most of this. Like I could go ahead and use my, use my French curve just to round those out. But again, this is kind of like just sketching with a pen, and I will show you how I would clean this up a little bit later on, you know. But I would go in and then like really get that. Like I like having these big areas, big strong areas like this. I like doing that. But then I would go in and then make like these little pockets. And inside these little pockets, that's where we're gonna throw all the detail. Like inside here. Inside here, I'm gonna probably put like all these little lines and details, kind of differentiate this part from the bigger plate sizes, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go in and then maybe make this back part here like this. I'll probably leave this little area open. Try to leave a little bit of air into there, you know, like that. Like this would go behind here and stuff like that. So it's nice to have a nice contrast between bigger areas and then the little tiny detail areas. That will help bring your robot out extremely well. Okay, so I'm gonna keep working on this. Once I'm done outlining, I'm gonna show you how I would strengthen up the actual ink line, right? And then we'll talk a little bit about light and shadow. Okay, here we go. So, I figured out mostly everything with the 0.005 where I wanted things to be. I have a good sense of where the big plates will be and where all the fine details will be. So it was pretty much sketching with an ink pen at this point. So now we're going to go in and start detailing this guy. Now the first thing I want to do is actually start defining some of these edges, okay? And that's what lines really are. They're edges, They're edges, they're corners. They're surfaces, right? And one thing I learned when I took technical illustration when I was in college was wherever you could wrap your hand around, right? For example, I could wrap my hand around this line here. You want to make that a thicker line, okay? Whenever I will wrap my hands around these lines here, those should be thicker lines, or you'll have that sense thicker lines. I took a technical illustration drawing, and that's what we do to make it more, to have that feeling like these lines are more pronounced, and we could go around them. So I'm going to go and take a 0.5, 0.5 micron, okay, 0.5 pigment micron, and I'm going to go in and start strengthening these lines. Now, most of these lines this time around, I will go ahead and use the French curve. I don't think I need an ellipse for these, though I do have one, and let me show it to you quickly, right here, for my ellipses, right here, and I could do it, but these are actually so small where I could probably just eyeball it and it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I will need it here, because I'm thinking I might go ahead and put in maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 little round circles here, make it feel like they're gonna be cannons or something like that. But I'll get to that in a minute. But first thing I want to do, I'm gonna start strengthening these lines and start to make this look a little bit more of a finished drawing. A little bit more like a finished drawing. I can speak English. Let's get started. Okay, so now that the main shapes, they're pretty much outlined dark. Okay, again, we're nowhere near from finished here. Now I'm going to start to really go in, finish this drawing, add in some lighting, and actually go in and do the fine details, which really pulls everything together. So the structure is here. So we got the arms, we got the giant shoulders, we got these little cannons that we're going to put in. I'll put those ellipses, the circles in shortly enough. But right now what I'd like to do is start to get some of the lighting going. Mainly because, like, for me, I actually like using a lot of black. And when I use a lot of black, I don't want to be like detailing something and then realize I'm gonna have to go back and cover it with black, right? So for me, because I don't really, I do use copying markers here and there, but we won't for this particular piece. This particular piece will just be inking, okay? So at this point, I try to think to myself, okay, where is the lighting source coming from? And then right now, I'm thinking the lighting source would actually come, because I want to see a lot of this detail, I'm going to have the lighting source coming mainly from maybe this particular angle here. That way we get to see like a lot of the detail that's going on here, and on the legs, and all that side. So a lot of this stuff here, they will be pretty much covered in black, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a Sharpie, either the fat Sharpie or the round Sharpie, and then just start laying in some black where the shadow will come from over here. Okay, so I'll start laying the black in, and then we will start going into leveling out the black, completing the shading with my shading techniques, and then adding the fine detail to really bring this piece together. So let's do that. Okay, what I like to do is I like to leave like a little line here. Because what we want to have the impression of, yes, the light's coming this way, but we also want like some sort of a backlight that would be coming from this side. So you'll notice I'll have a little bit of rim, so I'll leave a little bit of white along the edges here so that we won't have to worry about it, alright? So let's do that. Okay, so I'm almost done blacking out what I need to. As you can tell, like, these all are shadow areas, okay? And again, this is pretty rough in itself, but now comes a lot of fun part. Well, for me anyway, and it's going in and adding the small details that will really bring this drawing to life, okay? So I will actually go in and then draw little lines here and there, draw little rivets and indents and all that, and that will actually finish off the drawing and, and make it complete, okay? So I'm gonna start adding small details, and I'll stop as I go just to explain some of the things that I am doing. Here we go. So I'm going to start out with a 0.5 here, and what I like to do is go in and then start adding like things like little plates to here, right? And accenting edges by doubling up the lines. Here, as you can see, I'm going to go in here and double up the lines and say, for example, that's a plate there, as you can see, and then strengthening those outer lines here. And then add little things like rivets, like these little dots here, that add so much to it, right? So I will actually go through this thing and then just add like lines here and there and here. And then when I'm adding plates, I'll add a little bit of shadow, like I'm doing right here. Adding a little bit of a shadow, right? And then starting to really give some life to this drawing. I'm a detailed guy. I love little details. So I'm going to put a lot of little details, like I always do in all my artwork, just because it's a lot of fun. You put some good tunes in to your ears, and then you could just go as crazy as you want to when adding details. As little as you want, because the structure's already there. Now you don't want to go too dark because you don't want to take away from what you've already done. But it's just a way to accent, highlight, and strengthen what you already have here. So let's get going. Let's add a lot of detail. Now you'll see here the middle part here, this is where I like to add like a ton of little itty bitty lines because, you know, this part here, section, that's where you start having things like wires. For example, I could add like a few little curvy lines to have wires, right? And then I could have like lines that go straight across like that here. Like really intricate detail here, you know? Lines, lines, lines. So what happens is from far away, these lines kind of merge together. That's kind of like shading this middle part, but you know, it's offset by these bigger plate type you know, pieces here, so that actually helps a lot. And you know, it adds a lot of detail, and people will look close and they'll like, oh, what's with all these little lines in these little sections here, right? So let's do that. Let's add all these little lines. You know, metal, like if it's really clean, if metals is clean, it kind of looks plasticky in that sense. So a lot of metal, they have little dents, they have little scratches and all of that. So I'm going to be adding scratches to this. I'm going to be adding little dents, little rust marks here and there. So I'm going to do all of that, and then I'm going to finish it off in 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to add a lot of this. Now, again, if you have any questions to anything you see me do, or if I haven't explained anything properly to you, enough for you, please don't be afraid to ask me on social media. I'd be more than willing to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so let's get this thing finished. Okay, we're almost there. Just a couple more things, just to really make this piece stand out. Now, again, I could go forever on this piece. But you can tell some of the little details I added here. I added like these little rivets here on the side. I'm actually known for my rivets. Anyone who knows my work at Transformers, I'm known as the guy who puts rivets on everything. I love putting rivets and possibly overworking some things. Like some people may say this piece is overworked, but to be honest, I could work probably another 4 or 5 hours on this piece and, you know, just keep going, and I'll be extremely happy doing it. You know, it's one of those things too where I know I would never draw it again. It's always fun to draw things once, but you know, if I have to draw the exact same character again, it's not as much fun. Okay, but two things we want to add here on the end, okay? Aside from like little details that I'm doing right now. One thing we want to do is add a shadow. Okay, so he's not kind of hovering in space, and again, we have the light source coming from here. So I'm gonna actually outline a little shadow here on the ground. Okay, and then this marker is actually running out. I think I used most of it on my character here. So I'm gonna add a little bit of a shadow here. I grab my thicker marker here, and I'm just gonna go in and put a contact shadow here at the bottom. Okay. And here like this, here on the side. Right, so you know where he's standing. You can tell he's standing, because again, this is a black and white piece. So, okay, we want, you know, okay, he's standing that way. See, my markers are running out because I use a lot of black. Okay, and one more thing that we want to do, we want to give it a sense of scale. Like, how big is this particular character? And one way we could do that is adding a little something to the drawing, just so we get the sense of how big or small this is. And you know, in all honesty, I want this guy to be actually pretty big. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna add like a little man that's right beside him, probably down here. Right, so I'm gonna actually draw him, little dude like this big. That's how massive this guy is. Do you see how small this dude is? He's just standing here like this. Whoops, one leg is bigger than the other, but that's okay because we won't see much of him. He's so small. But just to give it a sense of scale, right? And then we'll give him a little bit of a shadow as well. A little bit of a shadow as well, just so we know he's in the same world as this guy. So now you could say, wow, this is a big robot. And he was a lot of fun to do as well. So I hope you guys had a lot of fun making your own robot as well. I would love to see them. Any questions you have about this particular robot that I just did, I hope you like it. Please do let me know. And there you have it. There's my robot I designed, and I hope you liked it. I hope you learned a thing or two. Now, I know a lot of you probably have a lot more questions, so please don't be afraid to contact me and ask me, and I'll be more than happy to help you out, you know, with any questions you would have about drawing a robot or drawing in general. Please ask me those questions in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer as many as I can. Please also feel free to tweet me as well. Tweet me at BoxOfficeArtist, at BoxOfficeArtist. Follow me on Instagram at BoxOfficeArtist. And also send me your robot pics. I would love to see them. I would love to see what you came up with. If you stuck with the ink, if you added some grayscale or color or did it on the computer, I'd love to see those as well. In fact, maybe I'll take some of the best ones and put them into a video compilation I will put on my own channel, youtube.com/TheBoxOfficeArtist. You can please subscribe to me there, but also please don't forget to subscribe to my man JAZZA. Please subscribe to his channel. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to his channel. You'll learn so much from him. He's a wealth of knowledge. So many wonderful videos. Check out his videos and we can all learn how to draw together. Thank you again for everything. I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is James. I'm the Box Office Artist, and I'm here to say, keep drawing.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel to see new content every week. Check out more of my stuff by clicking the annotations over there. If you want to support my work and get a few goodies for yourself, head over to my store for archives, ebooks, and get yourself something nice. If you're looking for a great place to collaborate, explore, or share your own content, head over to newgrounds.com. That's it for now, and until next time, see you later.